Can you do that? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to especially, on behalf of the MLSCN Accreditation Service, welcome all of us to the MLSCN celebration of the 2022 World Accreditation Day. Today is 9th of June, 2022, and globally, this day has been set aside for the celebration of the World Accreditation Day. The Medical Laboratory Science Accreditation Service, Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria Accreditation Service, being a very critical and vital arm, currently an associate of the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, deemed it necessary to mark and celebrate this day with other stakeholders in the business of accreditation globally. Interestingly, the accreditation is one of the cardinal components of the mandate of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. It is on this note, we welcome all of us, both those that are here in the board and participants joining us virtually, because this is an hybrid program. Quickly, we'll move on to the program, and it is my privilege this morning to acknowledge the presence of the #1 medical laboratory scientist in Nigeria, the Golden Registrar Chief Executive Officer of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, who also is the host of this program. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Tosan Irabo, the Registrar CEO MLSCN. Sir, you are welcome. It's also my privilege to respectfully welcome one of the very respected stakeholders in this country. He's a man that I personally admire his doggedness and leadership prowess that he has demonstrated in the area of biosafety in Nigeria. I'm talking of no other person, but a very distinguished personality, Dr. Rufus Ebegba. For the records, Dr. Rufus Ebegba is the Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the National Biosafety Management Agency here in Abuja. So, sir, you are welcome. And again, for this event, it is also my privilege to respectfully welcome and invite to this side of this podium the Assistant Director Medical, Naval Headquarters Abuja, Captain U.S. Edo. Sir, you are welcome. I love your white. You're welcome, sir. Also, I want to acknowledge this morning Sir, you're welcome. The crusade for sustainable and quality medical laboratory service in this country have honor to be the Chief Executive Officer. Most medical laboratories that were accredited to ISO 15189 Dr. Elochukwu Adibo, CEO, LAB Lagos, Nigeria, and also the national president of the Guild of Medical Laboratory Directors of Nigeria. Let's put our hands together as we welcome him, sir. Sir, you are highly welcome. It's my privilege also to acknowledge and welcome our Deputy Registrar, who is in charge of education and administration in the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. Is also a man of quality. I'm talking about Dr. Godwin Akpitanyi Idwita. Sir, you are welcome. Please just join on this side. Thank you. Also, let me welcome respectfully the main driver of this activity today, talking about the Deputy Registrar and Director of the MLSCN Accreditation Service. I was made to understand, and I've grown to know, that he's the only professional in the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. I'm talking about Dr. Donald Ofili. Sir, you are welcome. I convert your virtues, and I said when I grow up, I want to be a professional. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. So I want to welcome also the Director of the Scientist Practitioners Regulation and Discipline, is the Jagaban of Council. I'm talking about Mr. Gregory Uchuno. Sir, you are welcome. We also have the Acting Head Director of the Earth Laboratory Planning, Research and Statistics of the MLSCN, Dr. Akinwale Akilabi. Sir, you are welcome. Let me acknowledge the presence of our Deputy Director with swag. Sir, you are welcome. The Deputy Director of Audit. Sir, you are welcome. Distinguished ladies and dear colleagues present here and those virtually, we also have other Deputy Directors. You are all respectfully welcome. So on this note, I crave the indulgence of the Registrar CEO to make progress in this program. Now we're moving on to take the opening prayer, and we are taking the second stanza of the national anthem. Do you have that for us? Jerry? Okay, please, let's stand as we take the national prayer. So let's go. 1, 2. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youths the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and truth. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. Thank you. I also want to respectfully welcome the other distinguished colleagues that came with the DG to this program. You are all welcome. Your presence is highly acknowledged. We are happy to have you at the MLSCN house. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward to the next item on this program. But let it be emphasized that today is the World Accreditation Day. And the theme for this, the 2022 World Accreditation Day, is sustainability in economic growth and the environment. And it's my privilege this morning to welcome the Registrar, Chief Executive Officer of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, Dr. Tosan Irabo, for his opening remarks. Sir, you are highly welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the management of the Medical Science Council of Nigeria, I want to respectfully welcome a friend and a brother who happens to be our keynote speaker in this year's World Accreditation Day, the DG of Nigeria Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Rufus Ebegba. You are welcome to MLSA House. I'm very sure this is your first time of coming to our modest place of abode in Abuja. Thank you so much. I want to also say thank you for coming with your retinue of staff. It shows the importance you put in this program. You are welcome, please. I want to also welcome our subteam speakers. In no particular order, Captain U.S. Edom from Nigeria Navy Medical Services. You are welcome, sir. The Golden Boy, the flagship of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, when it comes to ISO 15189, laboratory accreditation, the Guild of Medical Laboratory Directors in Nigeria, no other person than Mr. Dr. Elo Chukwu Adibi. You are welcome, sir. My top management team here present, the other cadres of medical laboratory staff of council, our dear colleagues joining us virtually, the ICT members of the press, once again, good morning. I'm indeed delighted to welcome you all. On behalf of the management and staff of the Medical Research Council of Nigeria, for the celebration of this year's World Accreditation Day by MLSCN Accreditation Service. The theme of this year's celebration is accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and environment. When we saw this team as a member, an associate member of ILAC, we felt the only person that can do justice to this topic will be the DG of Nigeria Biosafety Agency of Nigeria. That is why we got to you, sir. And thank you for accepting our invitation. The Medical Research Council of Nigeria is the statutory agency of government charged with the responsibility of regulating medical laboratory services and practices in Nigeria as enshrined in Act 11 of 2003, Cap M25, Laws of Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004. In line with meeting international best practices, Nigeria has adopted the ISO 15189-2012 as the national industrial standard for accreditation of public and private medical laboratories. This standard covers a variety of areas, including but not limited to human resources, infrastructure, equipment, IVDs, which is in vitro diagnostics, regulation, so analysis and activities, and quality management systems. MLSN has
So
also
it is
developed a
let me
number
know.
of regulatory guidelines in order to support and strengthen its our accreditation process. The Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria became an affiliate member of the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, ILAC, on 2nd November 2014. However, in order to safeguard our impartiality in providing medical laboratory accreditation services, MLSN Accreditation Service was created in 2016. The services provided by MLSN Accreditation Service can be accessed through the website www.mlscn.as.org, which is quite different from MLSCN main website. MLSCN Accreditation Service has so far granted 14 accreditation certificates to deserving medical laboratories across the country. And we are deservedly upgraded to an associate member of ILAC on 27th October 2021. For the benefit of doubts, ILAC is the international organization for accreditation bodies, accrediting testing laboratories, medical laboratories, calibration laboratories, inspection bodies, proficiency testing providers, and providers of reference materials. We were created by laws of Federal Republic of Nigeria, CAP LFN 25 or 2004, as a national accrediting body as it relates to medical laboratory services and practice in our dear country, Nigeria. But we felt we cannot be local. We need to move internationally. That is why we engaged and met the requirement of ILAC, and which culminated to our being an associate member of ILAC with effect from October 2021. What this speaks to us is that the labs accredited by Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria is also on the website of ILAC. That means what we have done locally here is accepted internationally. All over the world, ISO 15189 accreditation is an enabler of quality and core competence of good critical management. It is patient-focused, impartial, and objective. It provides many benefits for us as healthcare regulators, such as providing the mechanism for quality improvements and independent assurance of quality and safety that support world-class decisions. The theme of this year's celebration will bring to the knowledge of policymakers, practitioners, academics, environmental health activists, and civil society the significance of accreditation in sustaining the economic growth of our nation, as well as keeping a healthy environment. Therefore, on behalf of the management of MLSCN management, I would like to thank our keynote speaker, Dr. Rufus Ebegba, Director General, Chief Executive Officer, National Biosafety Management Agency, for yielding to our plea to deliver this lecture from MLSCN Corporate Headquarters, which we also known as MLSCN House in Abuja. Thank you so much, sir. We cannot thank you enough. We are indeed grateful. We are also indebted to other speakers. Captain U.S. Edom of the Nigerian Navy Headquarters, Abuja, Dr. Elochukwu Adibo of Air Lab Laboratories, Festa, Lagos, who is also the National President of Guild of Medical Laboratory Directors, including our own dear, only professional in council, Deputy Registrar, Donald Ofi. Where we are today. In conclusion, sir, I want to appeal to all medical laboratory practitioners in Nigeria to embrace accreditation as a means of demonstrating their technical competence in order to actualize the federal government of Nigeria's directive as enunciated in the quality policy that all medical laboratories should be accredited by 2025. And that is what the Medical Laboratory Council of Nigeria also stands for. And we are also saying, if you cannot be accredited by 2025, but you must have shown significant implementation of quality management system in Nigeria. And the policy of the Medical Laboratory Council of Nigeria, as it relates to laboratory practice, is that you must have one form or the other of quality management system, which our board has agreed that you must have a 1-star or a level 2 or whatever it might be. But I just returned from South Africa, where the recommendation worldwide is that for you to start a laboratory, medical laboratory practice in any country, it must be a level 2. Such a facility should not stand. And MLSCN stands with that. On that note, I want to formally say that this program is hereby declared open for discussions, and I wish all our colleagues, both in Nigeria and in other climes, joining us to celebrate the World Accreditation Day this year, 2022. Thank you so much.
Let's applaud better the Registrar, Chief Executive Officer of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, Dr. Tosan Irabo. Thank you very much, sir, for that opening remarks. And we are very certain now that the program is open to move on. It is on this note, I will humbly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Sareti Agbonlaho. I work with the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, and I've been given the responsibility to direct this program timely, and that I would do responsibly. Quickly, we have heard the registrar speak so passionately equality in medical laboratory, place of accreditation in driving sustainability in economic growth and the environment. While we look forward to the keynote address shortly, it is important to mention that Nigeria, being a signatory to the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, the need for accreditation to make the products from this country to be competitive cannot be overemphasized. And I need not be told further that this possibly influenced the team, the choice of the team for this World Accreditation Day, sustainability in economic growth and the environment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is on this note that I want to respectfully invite the keynote speaker, the Director General and CEO of the National Biosafety Management Agency, our own respected Dr. Rufus Ebigba. Sir, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
the Registrar of MLSCN, Dr. Tosan Irabo, management and staff of MLCN, distinguished participants, it's my pleasure to make this presentation today. I want to congratulate MLCN for the bold steps they've taken so far in ensuring that our medical facilities have basic standards so that we can have a healthy environment and also ensure proper management of health waste and other standards are met. The National Biosafety Management Agency in 2019, the act establishing it was amended with a view of adding some additional emerging areas. So on that note, the amendment of 2019 included an aspect that the agency should ensure biosecurity within the Nigerian space. So on that note, one of our major achievements from 2019 to date in respect of biosecurity is the development and adoption and approval of the National Biosecurity Policy and Action Plan of Nigeria. That action plan has given leeway to so many agencies, ministries, departments, and also private sector, the various rules. The policy has been distributed to relevant stakeholders, and I'm sure you have your own copy. So my being here today, I may not be an expert in the area you have asked me to do, but as a chief executive, we are expected to be all-rounder. Sometimes being an all-rounder. So on this note, I want to make my presentation. Accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment is the outline of my presentation. My introduction. Today, June 9th, 2022, marks World Accreditation Day. It's a group established by International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation and International Accreditation Forum to promote the value of accreditation. Accreditation in collaboration with other quality infrastructure institutions includes metrology, standardization, conformity assessment, and market surveillance. Provides the technical foundations that are critical to the functioning of developed and developing societies. It is an enabler to facilitate industrial development, trade competitiveness in global markets, efficient use of natural and human resources, food safety, health, and environmental protection. This year's theme, accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment, focuses on how accreditation supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Accreditation. What is it? It's different definitions, but we have tried based on some standards. Accreditation comes from the Latin word accredo, which means give credit or acknowledgement. It's a formal certification of quality by an independent authorized body, ISO, WHO, WTO, ILA, MLSN, etc. You can see MLSN has already placed itself in the global map. Accreditation is an attestation of the competence and impartiality of conformity assessment bodies to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. It is an impartial and objective process carried out by third parties that offers the least duplicative, the most transparent, the most widely accepted, the least discriminatory route recognition worldwide of credible and trustworthy conformity results. Several reasons abound for understanding the significance of accreditation for sustainable economic growth. One of the most relevant growing level of confidence in goals. Accreditation Accreditation by provides assurance that its result trustworthy that's consistently to the system. Accreditation protects consumers and removes technical and economic barriers to trade, providing opportunities for products and services to the globe. Accreditation conformity assessment can support environmental protection by confirming that carbon dioxide levels comply with specified limits, that emissions from industry, and that the traceability of organic food is clear. Laboratories accredited the Polish Center for Accreditation and grant samples for pollutants, helping inform decisions on land use, soil regeneration, and remediation. Organizing committee for the 2020 Winter Olympic Games Ability Management System certified a certification by body accredited by the China National Accreditation Service. Protect the environment by ensuring compliance with standards. The use of standards can help organizations adopt more eco-friendly practices with accredited conformity assessment, providing assurance that organizations are meeting requirements. Globally, accreditation bodies and regulators, as well as other conformity assessment bodies, contribute to this ecosystem of sustainability by developing various conformity assessment schemes against which accreditation bodies grant accreditation to ensure compliance to environmental related matters. Rules to ensuring environmental sustainability, testing and calibration. Accredited laboratories use ISO 17025, involved in testing and calibration activities, help measure pollution by analyzing water, air and soil quality, noise level and waste, and aid in reducing emissions by analyzing energy efficiency. Proficient testing providers. Accreditation under ISO IEC 17043 assures the competence of proficiency testing providers involved in establishing and conducting PT programs in environment-related disciplines such as water and soil. Validation and verification. Under the ISO IEC 17029 supports standards such as ISO 14064-1 and ISO 064-2, GHG, ISO 14067, carbon footprints of products, ISO 14046, water footprint. Reference material producers. Accreditations under the ISO 17034 confirms the competence of reference material producers involved in producing RM used in testing and inspections of monitoring parameters related to the environment. Helping the environment by fighting climate change. As you are aware, climate change has become a global concern on human existence. Climate change. Climate change poses a threat both to the environment and the world economy. Warmer temperatures, severe weather events can damage infrastructure, impact human health, and negatively affect the agriculture and fishing industries. Long-term economic prosperity requires climate change mitigation and adaptation, which depend on the transformation of economic activities to become climate friendly or carbon neutral. A way forward. Using accredited tests, measurements, verification and validation services, the global response is strengthening by playing a central role in energy efficiency programs, energy generation policies, such as carbon price, incentivizing the promotion of low carbon solutions and carbon emission reduction. Other accreditation benefits. for industrial development, trade competitiveness in global resources, food safety, health, environment, and climate change. What some examples. In Nigeria, the accreditation bodies include but are not limited. Military bodies, laboratories, special bodies of professional testing, and bodies that insurance corporation, financial institutions, so on and so forth. The role of National Biosafety Management Agency in accreditation. The Nigerian Biosafety Management Agency satisfies following the processes to mandate. Genetically modified foods. The National Biosafety Management Agency of an agency meant about technology applications. We do not regulate GM drugs or pharmaceuticals that are related to genetically modified organisms, but to regulate every other living thing that are derived from genetic engineering. And you are aware of the controversies surrounding the use of genetically modified organisms. Let me use this opportunity to once more assure the Nigerian public that the National Biosafety Management Agency role is to ensure that genetically modified products and the practice of modern biotechnology, they are safe to the environment and human health. And we have put in place measures to ensure that GMOs that are harmful are never produced. Whatever we have approved so far, they are safe, and we want to assure the Nigerian public that they need not to be afraid of the consumption of GMOs approved by the National Biosafety Management Agency. We also certify GM crops, products, and companies that have direct or indirect link, and laboratories that deal in the development of genetically modified organisms, and research institutes as well. We accredit research institutes, laboratories dealing with genetically modified organisms. These institutions, so far, we have accredited the National Root Crop Research Institute of Nigeria, National Cereal Research Institute of Nigeria, Federal University of Technology, Akure, University of Calabar, and also the National Biotechnology Development Agency. We have accredited these institutions. They can do genetic engineering to come up with products that are useful to the Nigerian economy. And they have terms and conditions to ensure that all the activities are safe to the environment and human health, and the products are also safe for human consumption. The National Biosafety carries out certification of competence of GM laboratories to carry out their own scope, certification of compliance with stated quality system, endorsement of quality management system of audited laboratories. The challenges of accreditation, growing development of technology, products, materials, services. The world of today described by the acronym VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, requiring strong leadership, vision, and knowledge to face daily shifts in the economy, trade, and international relations. In conclusion, accreditation is an engine of economic development on a fair trade basis. In Africa, accreditations has evolved over time towards a sustainable environment by verifying compliance with standards. This protects consumers and removes technical and economic barriers to trade, providing opportunity for products and services to go global and making it easy for consumers to identify products and services that meet quality requirements. Accreditation is poised to play an even greater role as a transparent and non-discriminatory means of assuring technical competence of conformity assessment service providers. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. I think we can do better than that. Let's applaud the Director General and the Chief Executive Officer of the National Biosafety Management Agency. Sir, thank you very much for that keynote address on the theme of this World Accreditation Day, which is accreditation, sustainability in economic growth and the environment. I've come from this keynote address, it is important that the need for accreditation for sustainable growth and the environment cannot be overemphasized. We've come to know that the system is more volatile, quite uncertain, complex, and very, very ambiguous. The only way to streamline services for sustainable growth and the environment is for there to be a way for accreditation so that products and services rendered can be acceptable everywhere. Once again, thank you very much, sir, for the giant stride you are making in this country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me inform us that we have two conveniences in this place. The one at that end, 407 is for me. And on this other end here, we have another convenience for female. Participate and take water before we move on to the next item. Sir, approved? Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also, for our participants online, those viewing, if you have questions and comments, please put them in the chat box. Our team of ICT experts in the house will compile them for appropriate response. Thank you for your time, and please stay tuned with us on this celebration. We are celebrating accreditation. We are excited that our country, Nigeria, is not where we were some years ago. It is gladdening to note that the Nigerian government, the federal government of Nigeria, has adopted the ISO standard to be a national industrial standard 2019. The country also has put up a lot of policy, the national quality policy, the national infrastructure policy, and the signatory to the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. All of these are efforts to ensure that there are standards are maintained in the services rendered in our dear country, Nigeria. The main fact that the National Regulatory Agency keying into the World Accreditation Day, as always, is an attestation to the significance and the importance that the government of Nigeria places on quality. One thing that we have come to appreciate as a country is the obvious fact that Nigeria has a lot of interagency collaborations to drive quality in every aspect of our services. This is not just a mere feat. Our desire is that going forward, we will see most of our facilities embracing accreditation, and the competitiveness of our products will be on the increase globally. I listened keenly while the Chief Executive Officer was giving his opening remark. He notified and informed us that the MLSCN Accreditation Service has granted 14 accreditation certificates to ISO 15189-2012 to deserving facilities. This is just between 2016 and now. This is not a mere feat, and it is also gladdening to note that other accrediting bodies in Nigeria have also made positive steps in that direction. Just recently, we had 3 facilities that got accredited, and many others key into it. The Medical Life Science Council of Nigeria, the governing board, in July 2020, came up with a policy that makes it mandatory that the minimum standard, the minimum requirement for medical laboratories to operate in Nigeria is the evidence of quality management implementation, which is 1 star. Sustaining and building on that, we are very optimistic that before the year 2025, we have more medical laboratory facilities and other laboratories in the environmental sector, in the agri sector, under the One Earth approach, getting their facilities accredited. So this is a very, very special occasion to us. And we are glad and happy that we are having it this way. So just put those questions together, and then very shortly we'll move on after this water break. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. I want to. Hello. I want to put on notice that the Medical Life Science Council of Nigeria, because our driving force is quality. We have a tripod of quality. So talk about structures that must be in place. Now we are talking about accreditation. It is important for me to let the world know that the tripod of accreditation that the MLSCN is driving is still on course. The external proficiency testing center in Zaria, where we have not less than 1,500 facilities queuing into our EQA, has been accredited internationally. That aspect of peer laboratory comparison has been established in Nigeria. The next is, no matter how good you are, if your reagents, your consumables, laboratory reagents and consumables that you use as a professional, if it's not validated, it becomes garbage in, garbage out. I'm also happy to let our stakeholders and our colleagues to know that the public health in vitro diagnostic laboratory in Yaba, Lagos, where validation of laboratory reagents and consumables and equipment are validated, is also accredited internationally. And if not for anything, that laboratory in Yaba has brought MLSCN to the limelight and to the world at large. It made Nigeria not to be a dumping ground for COVID reagents and for COVID kits. And we are proud to say that the government of Nigeria saw the necessity and they supported us. And that is why we are running. And soonest, all other reagents, test kits that is used in the laboratory that doesn't carry MLSN IVD number will not be used in our laboratories in Nigeria. The last leg of our quality policy is, if you have an equipment, the manufacturer has told you that it's going to, the speed, the revolution is ABC, and we buy it, and when you use it without calibration to satisfy that whatever the manufacturer has said is what is really producing, or when it goes for maintenance, the results that will come from that such equipment will also be faulty. That laboratory is also here in MLSCN, is first of its kind in West Africa. And we are calling on our colleagues, all your pipettes, your used in the laboratory, please bring it for validation so that you are sure of what those equipment is producing. That laboratory is at the last lap of being accredited internationally. So once these three are in place, Nigerians will not have, the practitioners will not have excuse to say that they cannot go for certification of their laboratory, accreditation of their laboratory, and the results that will be coming out from their laboratory will not meet international standard. That is what we are promising the Nigerian people, that going forward, the time of going to 3 facilities for you to get results, to know which is fast being eroded. We are telling you as the regulator, before the end of the year, we are working assiduously to see that these laboratories are accredited and everybody must play by the rule. And in the next 1 month, the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria will be coming out with a publication that you cannot operate medical laboratory in this country, be it public health laboratory, reference laboratory, without being registered with the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. That aspect of our law will now be implemented to the fullest. Nigeria has come of age. We must play big with international market so that Nigeria can also benefit from this African free trade that is coming on. I needed to just bring this to the notice of our colleagues and Nigerians. I reassure Nigerians that the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria is working assiduously to see that the results that is coming from medical lab in Nigeria meets international standard. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. Let's applaud the Chief Executive Officer of the MLSCN for walking the talk. In summary, the MLSCN is not only driving the process for accreditation, also is also providing structures to support medical laboratories to attaining accreditation seamlessly. And as an agency leading by example, it said, he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. That is the reason why MLSCN had also subjected 3 of our own facilities to independent assessments. That is what has led to the international accreditation of the National Quality Assessment Laboratory in Zaria, the Public Health In Vitro Diagnostic Laboratory in Yaba, Lagos, and the National Laboratory Equipment Calibration Center here in Abuja, which is already in the last lap of attaining accreditation. I think the MLSCN deserve a better applause for that. Thank you very much. So on this note, we move on at the nick of time to the next presentation on the sub-theme, which is the role and benefits of accreditation by Captain U.S. Edom, who is an Assistant Director, Medical Naval Headquarters here in Abuja. Sir, you are welcome. And I'm sure that facility is also accredited. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our powerful MC. You've kept the whole place lively up till this point. Thank you. The Registrar Chief Executive Officer, Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria. Our dear keynote speaker, the Director General, National Safety Management Agency. Co-resource person in the person of Dr. Elechukwu Adibo and Dr. Ofili. Deputy Registrar, Education. Directors and Deputy Directors, other principal staff officers of Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria, my dear colleagues and the viewing public from all around the world, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Commander U.S. Edom, Assistant Director Medical at the Naval Headquarters. It is my pleasure to be here this morning, and I want to start by thanking the Registrar, Chief Executive Officer of Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria, and the Director Accreditation of the Council for deeming it fit to invite me to make this presentation today. Considering the array of professionals and resource persons in the medical lab family, I consider it a privilege that I'm invited to make this presentation, and I do not take it for granted. I'm also very pleased to hear of the giant strides that we have recorded. In fact, by the time very humble suggestions are made, in line with what the council is already doing. If you don't mind, I'll invite a round of applause for the council. Thank you very much. I also want to use this opportunity to wish all medical lab scientists happy 2000. We have already talked about the theme to speak on the topic, rules and benefits of accreditation. Without risking what I know will be repeated severally here today. Accreditation appears to be a global trend. It's now the way the world is going. If you look at statistics, you will see that the effort towards accreditation has picked up steam in recent years. For instance, the ILAC database shows that between 2010 and 2021, the number of laboratories registered to international standard rose from 5,000 to 10,000, which is about 50% increase. Similarly, the number of conformity assessment bodies registered, associated, or affiliated with ILAC also doubled within that period. Recently, we have seen that a number of countries are making accreditation a mandatory requirement for registration, which also the Medical Lab Science Council is doing. Now, the question will be, what sudden interest in accreditation? Why has it become so attractive? Why are people investing massively in accreditation now? If you follow me to hazard a guess, we will see that it is probably as a result of growing public interest in quality of healthcare, increased demand for accountability because of high cost, increased public expectation from healthcare providers. We are in the era of internet, so people have information. The blind approach towards requests for tests and then interpretation of results can no longer hold, because by the time a client is coming for a test, he's already reading wide about that investigation. So there is increased knowledge. But more importantly, accreditation is now a benchmark for performance. It has marketing advantages and it confers international recognition. But in my view, because of the peculiarities of practice in resource-constrained settings, are much more expedient. In fact, I call it a compelling reason why we should have accreditation. So going forward, what are even these peculiarities of practice in resource-constrained environments? First of all, for most of these environments, which despite the efforts of the Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria, Nigeria cannot be totally excused. There are no uniform standards, and in most cases, quality management systems are not in place. I was in a meeting recently of the Research Technical Working Group of the Ministry of Defense Health Implementation Program, United States Department of Defense, where we entered, we had an argument that technical working group, chance, lab scientists, and pharma. The crux of that discussion was the emphasis on laboratory results, recent emphasis on laboratory results. In fact, some clinicians were complaining that clinicians are fast losing their skills to come to diagnosis. A particular doctor, a friend of it, where his father undergoing monitoring, and they had to take 3 samples for serum, urea, electrolyte, creatinine, 3 different labs. When the results came, what he saw shocked him. 3 different results. Some gave him high urea, normal electrolytes. Some gave him deranged electrolytes, normal urea. So that was where he based, his insistence that clinicians should stay as much as possible, which I agree with, retain their ability to make clinical decisions without depending on the lab. But I quickly chipped in. I asked the question, what was the level of investment in the quality management systems of these laboratories? At the end of the day, we all came to agreement that hospitals do not really pay attention to quality management system of their laboratories. In fact, most people believe that once you buy an equipment and install it, that anything that comes out of that equipment that you should work with. And if the results are not accurate, the blame is put on the lab. But you see, is more than that. So hospitals do not pay attention to quality of their laboratory results. And as a result of that, because sometimes, especially in hospital-based settings, They are the ones that release resources for these laboratories. It reinforces that cycle of underinvestment, which at the end of the day also continues to affect the quality of laboratory results. But I don't think that laboratories can be excused completely. If I take an example with probably malaria diagnosis, because malaria is common, it's made to look like once you put your eyes in a microscope that you will see a malaria parasite. But from experience, I know that's not correct because I've been privileged to benefit from WHO organized malaria microscopy training. In fact, it was a shock that the pre-test for such trainings which I've participated in, the results were abysmal. Experienced scientists were not able to identify malaria until they passed through that training. So we are not completely excused. So it's against this background that I've structured my presentation to, first of all, provide a conceptual clarification of the key concepts in our definition, in our topic, and then go to reinforce the relevance of laboratory services. Thereafter, I will home into the main issue of the topic, which are rules of accreditation and benefits of accreditation. And then after which I will share my thoughts on the way forward for accreditation in Nigeria. Let us now start with conceptual clarifications. While working on this presentation, I had a challenge in whether I should include this topic. And permit me, it's because of the quality of people we have in the medical lab family. But because accreditation is topical, and also to put our discussion in context, I decided to just talk about some of the concepts in the topic. The first two are roles and benefits, starting with roles. Role is a person or thing's function in a particular situation, while advantage or benefit or profit gained from something. These definitions are from the concise Oxford Dictionary of English. It is difficult to draw a clear line between these two terms because in some situations, depending on the context, a role can be a benefit, and also depending on the context, a benefit can be a role. But for the purpose of this presentation, what I've tried to do is to look at role as those things that accreditation helps the laboratory system to achieve. Whereas benefit in this context is what the laboratory system gains from accreditation. So it's from that perspective that I'll be looking at this topic. The next is accreditation. I want to thank the keynote speaker for providing a broad definition of accreditation. But I want to reinforce the definition he has provided to say that accreditation is procedure by which an authoritative body gives formal recognition that a body or a person is competent to carry out specific tasks. I went ahead to underline some key terms. Procedure means that it is not a one-off event. Authoritative body emphasizes the fact that the body granting the accreditation must be authorized, and in this case, Medical Laboratory Council Accreditation Service. And in most cases, there is only a single national accreditation body for most countries. And then it's a formal recognition, and the essence of that recognition is that the person is competent to carry out specific tasks. So let me now bring the definition down to medical laboratory. Accreditation of a laboratory is an independent process which the keynote speaker emphasized and which the Medical Lab Science Council also practices. I remember after they came for the final audit, the report of the audit had to be submitted to an independent advisory committee who eventually granted us that accreditation. So it employs procedures and criteria specifically developed to determine technical competence of the laboratory to carry out accurate laboratory tests and provide reliable services. Going further, accreditation certifies the validity of technical procedure and competence of the laboratory to carry out its scope. It certifies compliance with the stated quality system benchmarked on a recognized standard. In our own case, it's the nationally accepted standard, which is ISO 15189. There are also other standards like Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendment Standard of the United States of America. Accreditation also endorses quality management system of the audited laboratory. Is accreditation licensing? The answer is no, because licensing is usually a mandatory requirement for registration and requires compliance with a minimum standard, which may not include accreditation, but may also include accreditation. Unlike accreditation, it does not require audit and does not assure technical quality. Some authorities require accreditation for licensing. I want to also say that I am very happy this morning because this is the direction that the Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria is going. Presently, as I'm told, the requirement is for a lab to have at least 1 star, and we are stepping it up to 2 stars. And there is every reason for it. If a lab is established to provide service to the public, the lab is under obligation to provide quality service. And that is why at least maintaining a certain level of accreditation is extremely important. So, sir, I want to thank you for insisting for the steps you're taking. So that's about all with the key terms, clarification of the key terms. So we'll go to the relevance of laboratory service. This is another scope item that I had issues working with because it can be taken for granted that laboratory services are relevant. Yes, it can be taken for granted. But just to also put it in context, I came about relevance of laboratory in the healthcare system. Laboratory results are required for making large proportion of medical decisions. In developed countries, it is estimated that 60 to 80% of patient management decision data. Laboratory investigations are often more sensitive and specific than clinical decision criteria alone, and laboratory provides justification for clinical decisions. We all know it's relevant in diagnosis, identification of causative factors, amongst others. But I want to specifically home in on what happened the COVID-19 pandemic, at least at the initial phase of that pandemic. We were all witness that the bedrock, the fulcrum of the effort to control COVID-19 rested on the lab. In fact, access to laboratory tests was a yardstick for measurement. It is not disputable that the laboratory is very continuous to the world. But the next question I will ask is this. Laboratory is, determined, and so what? Yes, they're relevant. That means that lab should be held to certain quality standard. The lab should be able to maintain it's just like because you are the only one providing a service, and yet you are not providing that service. So, and I believe that that is what accreditation is trying to achieve, and also the efforts of the council is trying to achieve. So next is the roles of accreditation. I want to quickly say that I have tried to summarize the roles of accreditation based on personal experiences, having been part of building quality management systems and also part of an accreditation lab. And for me, I can sum the roles of accreditation into 4. First is capacity development, improvement in quality of healthcare, improvement in lab accountability, and it also has a spillover effect on the entire health system. I will talk about these 4 points briefly, starting with the capacity development. Accreditation is emerging as a preferred framework for building capacity of medical laboratory systems, especially in resource-limited settings. For me, management system, because for you to go for accreditation, you must understand And you must also build capacity, technical capacity, safety capacity. You must build capacity in client care, amongst others, because that's the only time that for us audit that the accrediting bodies put you through. And I want to cite example with something someone to when SLAMTA was introduced in Nigeria and in Africa around 2009, 2010, or there. SLAMTA, I think it was developed by WHO, Africa Regional Office. It involved short courses, going through the SLAMTA program, you would have undergone like 66 tasks and job routines that define effective laboratory management. For those of us who followed the development of quality management system in our setting, it was the introduction of SLAMTA that broke the ice for us. I remember that about 20 Nigerians were selected at the first cohort that were trained in South Africa. We in the military, we benefited. 3 of our senior officers participated in that initial training. They came back and did extensive step-down training. Very extensive step-down training. And for someone like me, that was my first contact with QMS. And then I ran with it because it made a lot of sense for me. But suffice to say that apart from the military, the other participants in that SLAMTA program were from, all around the country. So the impact was that there were efforts to build laboratories across, and then that, kickstarted the flurry of activities, workshops, and all that in building capacity in QMS, which we are all enjoying today. I would say that from records, within the first 5 years of implementation of SLAMTA, about 617 laboratories in 47 countries were enrolled, which helped transform the laboratory landscape in developing countries like Africa, preparing those laboratories to achieve ISO 15189 accreditation. And I'm proud to also state that a military laboratory 445 Nigerian Air Force Lab then, was one of the first, if not the first, that achieved 5-star accreditation. Thank you very much. So the next role I'm going to discuss is the improvement in quality of healthcare. Quality improvement is the objective of accreditation. That was alluded to by the keynote speaker and also by the registrar in his opening remarks. Because when that quality is achieved, there's reduction in testing error, which decreases inappropriate treatment. In fact, in developed countries, which I'm very glad that Nigeria is stepping up to now, because if we use accreditation to enforce improvement in quality of laboratory practice, it means that we are doing what they do in developed countries, because over there, they use accreditation to encourage and enforce improvements in the quality and reliability of laboratory results. And accreditation bodies use the standard to specifically assess factors relevant to laboratory technical competence. And such factors include, but are not limited to, the technical competence of staff, next slide please, the technical competence of staff, the validity and appropriateness of the test methods, the testing environment, sampling, handling, and a whole lot of things. So basically, accreditation helps to improve the quality of healthcare. The next role is the role of accreditation in improving lab accountability. I look at this in two folds. First is the technical accountability, and the next is the financial accountability. As an accredited lab or a lab pursuing accreditation, you become more accountable for your actions, for your results. And also in terms of financial accountability, by the time you go through all the processes, you will see that anyhow, you would have become a more efficient lab. I take an example. When we were pursuing accreditation in the different places I've worked, we adopted an approach whereby we didn't want our preparation for accreditation to be on ad hoc basis, to be when we're expecting auditors will now do some window dressing, to be able to meet the criteria. We try to make it part of us. Our goal was to develop culture of quality. And that helped us because the lab was now running seamlessly. We could expect auditors any day. And then even when auditors come, we don't need to be struggling to follow because the lab was already operating on the altar of quality. And over time, we noticed that our processes improved. Our logistics management system, forecasting and everything improved. And as before you knew it, our lab became very prudent and we are managing resources very well. So that goes to confirm that accreditation, that it has a role in improving the efficiency of laboratories. The last role I'm going to talk about it seriously because accreditation quality system essentials. It is easy to do that. They are careful to implement them that are not necessarily limited to medical, applied also by the health. Recently, for implementation of this SLAM model in the settings so that hospitals can achieve accreditation. And I dare say that the array of highly specialized professionals that we have in the medical sector
of this sub-team for this accreditation day is a man I actually love, and I appreciate his sagacity and the quality of his work. We're looking at overcoming obstacles to achieving accreditation of medical laboratories. And this will be taken by no other person than our own dear Dr. Elochukwu Adibo, the CEO of LAB Lagos, Nigeria. Sir, you are welcome. Please let us applaud him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking the registrar, CEO of Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria, and the entire board and management staff, the directors here seated, those that are not here, for consistently keeping date and time with this World Accreditation Day. I remember the first time I was invited to make a presentation on the same platform was the World Accreditation Day in 2017. It was just like yesterday. A lot of things have happened between that time and now. In that meeting, and Nigerians joining the world to celebrate. It's very important that we celebrate quality, because accreditation is a fulcrum of quality. And specifically for medical laboratory services, you agree with me that it's either quality services or nothing. I will take this presentation today to look at overcoming obstacles to achieving accreditation of medical laboratories. And it's in the next slide, kindly, please. The outline of the presentation will be as in the next slide. Please give it to me. Thank you. Okay. No, please. The outline. Just, I want to run through it. Yes, please go back. Go back. Yes, please. So we're going to look at a brief overview of medical laboratories and the importance of accreditation. I might not overemphasize that because my colleague has done justice to that. My colleague has done a lot on that. I would love to look at data and compare that data with the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. Three very important key players in accreditation. And I've taken up the accreditation bodies and government roles of lab users. And then we're going to look at how we would be able to overcome all these obstacles. And then going forward, we look at Nigerian national quality infrastructure and the future of medical lab service in Nigeria. Kindly give me the next slide. Yes, we can see that image. That's a medical lab professional at work. You might wonder the relevance of that, but it's so relevant because if you look at the way that image is, it shows some excellence. It's not ordinary. Some other medical lab professionals might just not be in that kind of organized and properly, organized way to work. So it's important we see what it looks like, what the standard looks like. And then I made this quote, which tells us that Mr. Drucker is a very important person to me. Here, the next slide. He's important to me because he talks about quality. And everything about accreditation is quality. And sometimes what you perceive to be quality is not what it is. Like my colleague, when he spoke about the lab that was having a lot of efficiency in quality management, in giving out results on internet and all that. So it looked like all that glitter is not good, right? So quality is what the person that comes sees, not what you think you give. So take note of it. We're giving a service. Don't praise yourself. Don't judge yourself. You can never be able to. But when somebody comes to say, oh, indeed, you're good, then you know you're good. That's why I picked that quote. So it is what the client or customer gets out of it, not what you think you're giving. Next slide. So you can look at that. Our lab saves lives. You can look at another structure of a fine laboratory system. Somebody will wonder, why are you pulling up this? If you look at those tubes on the centrifuge, you see that something is different. In some other laboratories, you see burial marks and written with names, paper, always called, and all that could even blot off. But if you look at those, you see that they are barcoded tubes, meaning that those tubes are passing through a system that is organized, a structured system that may be error-free. And if possible, where there's an error, is traceable. That kind of thing we do, and that should be to save lives at laboratories all over the world. The standard, the best or nothing. Thank you. Next, please. So just look at what laboratory competence is. And when we are sure that there's an evidence of implementation of quality standards all through process of generating results, then there's competence. There must be evidence. There must be evidence. That's why during accreditation, I do this. Okay, that's good. I use this system to run this. Oh, that's good. Can we have evidence? I use it. It must be shown. If there's no evidence, it's non-conformity. You cannot set up a laboratory and just put on machine and then my results are coming out. There are no evidence of what goes into it, quality control and all that. So competence must have evidence, and that's very important. And we've seen this, and I don't want to overemphasize. But the second component that we must pull out is that QMS is the baseline of all these. Next slide, please. It's coincidental that my definition of accreditation is also in line with what my colleague picked up. And it's absolutely important we understand that this procedure, that the body that gives accreditation must be authoritative. The recognition you get must be formal. You can never have accreditation by assumption or saying, oh, yes, now we're accredited. Yes, now you don't see my lab as if I reach. No, there must be a formal recognition. And that body must be authoritative. The authority is also drawn, not by its own powers, by international powers and the recognitions, which you'll see later as we go down. And this is very important. Thank you. And then laboratory users, it's important to know who are those we're even dealing with, who are those that we're talking about. When we're talking about obstacles, we need to know those that can bring that obstacle and those that obstacle can also, revolve around. So I want us to see that laboratory users are patients, ourselves, caregivers, care providers, corporate organizations, government parastatals, military, and all the researchers, all of these people, legal practitioners, and everybody else. These are all laboratory users. As you will see their role as obstacles soon in this presentation. Can I have the next one, please? Thank you. Let me fast. Then, of course, we can overemphasize this. Why I put this slide is for us to know that don't ever think that because you're the accredited lab, you're not really the best. And we're not going to say that you're the best. Accreditation is not bringing out really the best per se, but it's a system of standard procedures with the aim of improving quality and patient safety. If your lab is accredited, your procedures will bring errors when they occur. It might not just be fine facially. Somewhere may look so fine, but there's no process. But in an accredited lab, the processes of QMS will make you detect errors where they occur, and they will not get to the end. Because your pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical system, we have checks to make you see verifications where there are errors, and you stop it from occurring again. That is the essence. And that's what makes you, give safe and quality results to patients. Thank you. Next slide. So all over the world, there are so many massive accreditation bodies. As you'll see in the next slide, over 120. Can you just put the next one? There's a cluster of this, you can see all over the place. And they are still increasing. If you remember what my colleague said, ILAC recorded how many bodies that had joined between the last 10 years, how many that are still coming as regulatory accreditation bodies are coming up. That shows the embrace and the need and importance of accreditation. So there are so many of them all over the world. I put a cluster of them there, and over 120 of them. And we can get to the next slide. You see how it is. Up there, you see. Wow. Medical laboratories. Important today that we clearly understand and distinguish. Accreditation Service of Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria is completely different and independent of Medical Laboratory Science Council as a regulatory body. So this makes this role significant and acceptable to the ILAC. And that's why today the membership level has been upgraded, like the registrar told us. And soon, I'm sure the signatory completion component will take place. So Nigerians all over, people all over the world should know the MLSC accreditation service does not call MLSCN service. They are able to. Accreditation services can be owned, run by government agencies, independent bodies. It depends on what you choose to do. But the rules and the modalities and the laid down procedures must be adhered to. If these are adhered to, then they can run. It's important that this clarification is gotten in this forum by an authoritative person who can also talk about it. And NINAS also is the Nigerian National Accreditation Service. You can see in the middle, the Nigerian Standard Organization is there, telling us that they are the ones that sit together and see through all other standards. Then you can see the ISO there, ILAC, and the rest of other accreditation bodies, put them, those in Africa, those around the world, and all that. It's important we see that these are those that in the medical laboratory system run together to see that we get what we are looking for in standardization of laboratories. Thank you. Next one. Yeah. So these are the stages that we normally will pass through to get to accreditation. When quotes are given by accreditation bodies, you have to apply and they have to now come over to do assessments. Some do, depending on how they see the list, might not really have to go through excessive step 1, maybe 2, 3 visits. They might just hit straight to accreditation assessment, 1 or 2. Of course, it must not be less than 2 because there must be 1. When you correct the conformities, you come. Then correction actions and follow up. When all the non-conformities are corrected, when there will follow-up visit to tidy it up. That will be the accreditation decision. And of course, I want to also remind us, even when accreditation cycle is long, 4 years, 3 years, for instance, MLSC accreditation service, which by the grace of God, our organization has, we also have the NINAS accreditation. The cycles are different. MLSCN is 4 years, NINAS is 2 years. So, but MLSCN compulsorily does surveillance audit every year. So I want to let my colleague in the Navy know that they're not coming in 4 years' time. They'll come this year. So there's what we call surveillance. That surveillance will come to see what you are doing yearly. And as you agree, sometimes they do it 2 times, once in 2 years, but yearly, see what you're doing before the next cycle. And I'm proud to say that my laboratory, by the grace of God, we have gone through 1 cycle and we've gone through another accreditation for another cycle. So it's something that is doable. Sustainability is important. When you climb to the top, it's important to stay there. Not once upon a time, I was there. That is not the story that we should tell in Nigeria. The story should be you're there and you're bringing more people to come. So I'm so happy because it used to be very cold. So I'm so getting one with many other countries come. We must stay there and bring others to join. Not once upon a time. That was the story because that's not the intention of the country. Because for quality to stay, it should be here and we'll keep cards like you see. Please let me have that slide. That's what accreditation laboratory, accreditation lab should look like. And that's different, exciting. Sometimes you see people walking, it's not exciting. You will not even distinguish by somebody that's selling something on the street. When you look at a person, even a child will say, These scientists, laboratory professionals work like the laboratory. They are just not depict standards, not what we should be able to. Sometimes you see a lawyer dressing, I can't see him, that's why I put that slide up. Somebody, if you can miss a laboratory scientist, a laboratory worker, pathologist, medical laboratory technician, whoever, if you can miss that person, sometimes you see unkept people that they represent. I'm sure this number will double, and that's the way to go for a country like Nigeria. Let's see the next one, please. Okay, so now we have moved into the parts. Why we need to have seen where we are and why we are not getting where we want to be already. So the obstacles, I want us to look at the obstacles to achieving accreditation. Now look at how we can overcome them, okay? Which is the users and also mindset of quality culture, first one. Now, please, I want us to pay good attention to this. Accreditation bodies, regulatory bodies, governments, and institutions, what obstacles, I would say, comes from their part are the following around the world. The accreditation cost is huge. Preparing but when I showed you the number of accredited bodies in Nigeria, accredited labs in Nigeria, It was 23. Some of them had taken up accreditation from some labs, from accreditation bodies outside the country. And they can tell the cost. I find that the of get will never the least the amounts is that of dollar a quote that I had already given. But if you look at the accreditation services in Nigeria, it's less interest, which is also international. Accreditation by one accreditation body is accreditation to all. It is the same standard. It is the same standard that is used to assess all of us accredited labs. The same technical criteria, the same requirement of management, all the same. The 15 and 10 are the same. And all so when there's a gap in foundation, it's a big obstacle because they don't understand what you're talking about. Your language, not be central be this, not be lab, no, I know get result. What is it? What is lab? All these things, they'll think it's just laboratory is not plug and play. So Slimta and Slabber is not plug and play. The fact that there's an analyzer here does not mean that if you plug it, it must give value. Value must come out, but what is that value? How reliable is that value that comes out of that machine? That is what accreditation is about. That's what Slimta is. That's what Slabber, that's what QMS is about. And that's the difference. So the government must put more effort to bring up much more mentors. Mentors and assessors, there must be budget lines to support mentorship all around the country, both private sector, public sector, so we can all move at the same rate. Okay? So MLSCN have been doing something, but I believe that they can do much more. They should speak about budget lines, even sponsors from some other people, agencies who have this support to do more mentorship and have put together all the people that have been trained in Slamta. The Slamta 20 people, where are they? Who are they? We should know the number. MLSN should have that figure. Know all the assessors, know all the mentors in Nigeria. And all those that receive step down, they should all be certified. So if we have 200, we know 200, we're having 200. And if we are moving for accreditation process, we know that there are 200 mentors who will say the same thing, and no one forgetting what he was taught, or no one speaking from one language, one speaking from another standard. That is uniformity, and that is excellence. So I believe this obstacle, I'm sure we should be able to overcome it. Then the poor reward and recognition for accredited laboratories. Sometimes we have to do the thing ourselves. You know, if you don't say you are, nobody said thou art. You have to be the one to say, I am. See me, see my shirt is very white. Can't you see it? Some other times you might not bet. We believe that government can do much more, put all the accredited labs in some kind of specialized position. Let them be showcased with pride. MLSCN would always, like my register will always say, my flagship lab. He would always say this every opportunity he has. It should be the same for all the laboratories accredited. Everywhere you go, MLSCN website, it should be clearly like, the flashpoint, breaking news, the kind of things that are happening all over. There should be more intensive, projection of this laboratory. So the whole world, those that have not gotten there will envy them and then want to be like them. So there should be brand visibility for all the brands that have these 23 people who have gotten so far. Nigeria should know and be counting. When there's one new one there, everybody should know, the whole world should know. The whole Nigeria should know that other has been added. It's so important because it's an obstacle. Others will say it doesn't matter. Because accreditation, unfortunately, as it were, is not compulsory. But shamefully, when people want to, I say that as a leeway, as a dodge way out to quality management system, because you cannot say it's not compulsory. There's no other way you can get to quality without getting through quality management system. If you're at the airport, you're already traveling. So when you want to travel, why would you not get to the airport? So when you're not implementing QMS, it's okay, we can do it, but we're not ultimately caring for accreditation. No, when you're already on the part of quality management system, you're on the part of accreditation. So the ultimate end of it is getting it, second body to confirm that what you're doing is okay, it's fantastic. So it's important to be on that pipeline and get to the end. The fact that it's not compulsory per se is not a way out of it, because that's an escape route to so many people, especially in the private sector. Not compulsory, it won't stop you from, nobody hold you. I have license, my lab is registered, but there's a difference between letter A, small one, and the big one. You must always know that. They are not the same. They are not the same. They are not the same. So, and it can never be the same. And my colleague had also spoken about benefits. Sometime last year, we were privileged to need to bid for some kind of, laboratory analysis that involved an international organization through a state by ESTA. And then the criteria was accreditation. So the only those that could even apply to do that job were accredited labs. Do you understand me? So such things should be seen. So that's why I say a small a and big A is not the same. But everybody should know this. So those that want to get to that point will know that there are something also they are missing out in, and they can do better. And at the end of the day, it's all about handling of over 6,000 samples. I'm sure you understand what that means. When you press the calculator, you know what that means. So when you look at that, you know what that means. And when that comes true, because of what you've strenuously gone through, it's important. But we need more. We need the MLSN to showcase us more. So when they want to do the first choice, they'll choose Navy Hospital, this one. Others will be envying those that have gone through, and they want to get there. So that's the part we want to improve on. And then let's see the next one. Then, of course, local funding. The funds are available. Many times, it's not easy, and it's not cheap. To keep the laboratory ready, the management willingness. You can be willing, but you may not have the money, the funds. Yeah, the willingness is there, but the funds are not there. So I want us to look at how we can make these things better. Get funds better for everybody who is really serious about medical health improvement. And I'll tell us how we're going to do this maybe in the next slide. Can you see the next slide, please? Thank you very much. So these are the roles of these agencies. And then the registrar told us, reminded us about the tripod, the EQA, the calibration labs, and the rest of them. Now, a major challenge is that we cannot have accredited labs without having multiple and enough calibration labs that will certify the instruments that they're using to test. There's nothing happening. So but now MLSN has gotten one. And do you know that for accreditation, your lab, calibration lab that certifies your equipment must be ISO accredited. Must, it's MUST. If it is not, it's a non-conformity. So you can imagine that. And the whole country, we don't even have, unless this MLSN one that's coming up and we soon get to ISO accreditation point, what we used to refer and get, like recertification from those that have been certified from abroad. That's the process we have gone through. But we're happy this is coming. Calibration labs must come up. Do you know that an investment in the calibration lab is also a massive investment like ordinary testing lab? And the kind of money that will come to you for you to, as accreditation is coming up now, many laboratories will want to have your service. An area that is looking to be tapped. And MLSN is tapping it. And I'm sure that calibration lab may soon be PLC because the need of that lab will overwhelm those that are managing it because it is so much. Pipettes alone, centrifuges alone. Do you know what it means? That's a lot. And that's a big gap. So that's one obstacle I've identified. And I believe that we'll be able to solve it with the establishment of more calibration labs. Then, of course, the EQA labs. The uptake in EQA labs, we have EQA lab by MLSN, yes, but how many are they covering? 1,500. How many labs are in Nigeria? It's still far cry. It's still far cry. And then my colleague was whispering to me, can they make the panels, expand the panel scope? Can they make it more metabolites? This is actually what it should be. But they are doing that, but they need to do more. So we need to still have more EQA providers, and the cycle should also reduce. We should have quarterly. We should be able to do quarterly, even monthly. There's an external supporting EQA that we go in and we do monthly for chemistry. Chemistry is not, you may not have to wait 2 times a year. You might not have to do quarterly and all that. So we need to expand capacity of MEQUA, even have more to do more EQA. So many people can access. You may just not be in Zaria. You may also be somewhere else, some other parts of the country for accessibility, moving on sample shipment on samples, low cost of sample movement and all that will make it better and more exciting. And also uptake from all laboratories, private and public, will increase. This is one major obstacle. And then the other one is, guideline. My previous speaker, my colleague had talked about it, but I'm happy. The Deputy Registrar and Director of Accreditation is here. He's been a very key person in the national guideline, development, uniform guideline. As I speak to you now, I'm happy the Ministry of Health is doing something about it from the kind of cries that we have given. Advocacy. Something has to be uniform. One document for everybody. This is the guideline. A is A, B is B, and to Z. So what you're doing in this country, this part of the country is what you're doing there. So that guideline will guide everybody to QMS and ultimately accreditation. Not that you are using one thing from here and other person using another thing. So I'm happy such document is being developed. Is one of the major hindrances, and I'm sure we'll be able to sort that. Then local mentorship, I've already spoken about this. I'm sure the CEO has taken note of this, and other agencies, we need to just do more mentorship, know the number of mentors, know how they can, do you know what you pay to get mentor, to get accreditation? It's a lot of money. And when you look at this, so many people will be discouraged in getting through that because it's not a one-man thing. So let's see the next slide quickly. Yeah, lab users. There's poor knowledge. I've told us who lab users are, but many people don't know about the labs, don't know about accreditation. Many people don't know the difference between this lab and that lab. Just maybe how fine they are. And of course, God being kind, there's no error. Or when there's an error, they will not know, this lab, not all that glitter is not good. That's the opportunity they may know. But otherwise, they may never know by what it is like. But if they know, there's a big publication daily, telling people at their face that these are the accredited labs, these are the laboratories that have met this, that. It should be seen where it is possible. It should be visible. The whole country should be able to know. So these lab users' enlightenment about accredited medical laboratories should also be known. And then skewness, preference for clinicians. Like someone was telling us about a clinician not caring about use of laboratory tests to make judgment. That's suicidal. Even if you have had error in one, it should not stop you because it will make you have more error if you don't use laboratory services. So you must try and see that you use laboratory services of people who are accredited and who are doing quality management system, not those of interest, because we all know what's going on. And all those things must stop. We must not patronize laboratories because they give you commission or they give you provisional discount. Those are things that should be at the back in Nigeria, should never be spoken about anymore. Commission taking for laboratory testing is one major thing that we should never allow. Let it be based on standard. People put in a lot of money to even run laboratories. So you don't expect people to have laboratories who are not standard to give you the same results. So clinicians and those who uptake results and the services must also know who is who. This is important. The awareness is poor. Then let's see. I know my time is up, and I just quickly run to the last slide. Let me see the last slide now. Mindset. A lot of people think it doesn't matter. What am I doing with it? It won't make me not to function. I've registered. Council will not close my life. I'm not created. No. You need to know that to the top is the best way. I've already given the airport narrative. So we need to know that the best way. QMS training must be everywhere as major course for everybody, both technicians, assistants, lab scientists, pathologists, everybody working in the lab must have QMS in the curriculum in schools. This is very important, and it's as important as getting it done like yesterday. Then everybody in the quality. The days of blue cotton labs I keep doing, not just, it's no more, let me start small about the other one. those things. Let me start. Didn't you start somehow? It's not true. If I started today, I won't start. I won't go the way we started. It's not the same. You must have to make a difference. And get. I say the big labs who are doing KMS are not struggling. But when you are not doing that somehow, people know. So rate. Sometimes we train people in private sector, we get to leave the way big challenge. You get people because let's just see the last part of it. Just give me the last part of it, and then yeah. So now, where are we going to in the future? You know, we know about national quality infrastructure and the future of medical lab. Where is it going to? You can see the DG that came had told us about standardization, testing, measurements, all other places. This is where we're going to. It's about quality. It's about being able to compete outside Nigeria. It's about AFRAC. It's about seeing what is going on. When the national quality infrastructure system puts Nigeria in the best place, the Nigerians can compete. I told you about my story, how I was able to compete with having a standardized and accredited lab. That's how you can be able to do international trade. The African Free Trade Zone Agreement is about quality, it's about accredited facilities. So there's nothing, no way into that part without getting to the top of it. So this is the way to go forward. And Nigeria 2025 target, there's a target and a mandate by quality infrastructure, accreditation of labs. So people say it's not realizable. That's not the issue. One step before the third step, before the ninth step. It is realizable when we start from step one, then to step two, and we'll be making more progress to that point of making it the best. Is that there must be more robust regulatory mechanism. More robust regulatory mechanism, and QMS implementation must be a core. Laboratories when we take this culture of 15 processes that lead you to being the best quality results, and nothing but the best. Thank you very much. The last slide is just the last one. That's just the last. Thank you very much. Can I have it? Yes. So we can get accredited. Nigerian lab, beaucoup. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes.
Merci beaucoup. Applaudissements. Thank you very much. Let's applauding for that. Thank you very much. Again, we've seen another practicing Christian, practicing QMS ambassador, practicing ambassador of accreditation and quality in Nigeria. Little will not be surprised with time. You'll be getting a national recognition from the federal government of Nigeria and international recognition on account of your sustainability in driving quality in medical laboratory services in Nigeria. Once again, we're happy to have you. Thank you very much, sir. At this junction, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our colleagues out there, before we move on to the next, and not exactly the last, but very important component of this presentation, it's my privilege to welcome one of our deputy registrars, say woman of timber and caliber, but somebody told me that they are something more than timber and caliber now. Well, we have in our presence Dr. Lorena Okoro. She's the deputy registrar in charge of molecular labs, inspection, and mentorship of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. Madam, we are happy to have you. We are celebrating something that is also very passionate to you. And today is the World Accreditation Day. Little wonder you are brilliantly and beautifully dressed in an ISO attire. Thank you very much, Emma. She's dressed ISO accredited. So on that note, I want to invite the Deputy Registrar and the Director of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria Accreditation Service, the only professional, to take us through ISO 15189 Medical Laboratory Accreditation by MLSCN Accreditation Service. Sir, it's a privilege to hand over this mic to you. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, accredited MC. Certified MC. Thank you so much. On behalf of management, I would like to thank our guest speakers for a brilliant job. But before I start, before he brings on my slide, now that it's very hot, there are some comments from some of the speakers that I would like to react to. One is that on QMS structure and certification, let me put it on record that we have a QMS structure, very strong one in MLSCN, and certification program in MLSCN. And as part of our ongoing improvement program, we have also instituted a quality management system culture as part of our pre-service training. We have reviewed recently our curriculum in medical laboratory scientists in our universities, and prominently QMS is part of it. And because we are aware that not all medical laboratories can embrace accreditation at the same time, we have also instituted what we call national certification program, so that medical laboratories that are not able to actually go through accreditation can go through the tiered program, where you can actually achieve star 1, star 2, and you have recognition for it. So by the time you achieve 3 and 4, we can also encourage you to go for accreditation. So that is in place. And again, thank you, Barrister Dr. Adibo, for also answering our colleague from the Navy that there is a surveillance assessment program as part of the accreditation process of Council of Feminist Accreditation Service that will do annual surveillance. They are due, Ojo and Calabar are due this year, so we will be coming for the annual surveillance. Of course, our target as MLS Accreditation Service is to achieve MRA. Thank you for encouraging us to go for MRA. That should be our target. It's also part of the presentation I'll be making today, our way forward and our strategy towards achieving MRA. Yes, I agree with Dr. Adibo that there should be visibility for laboratories that are already accredited. We'll give them more visibility. As part of that, we also have a website specifically dedicated for accredited laboratory. That is www.mlscnas.org. You will see a list of accredited laboratories there. And also, we also mentioned that we need to increase capacity of NEQUAL to handle a lot of panels. Of course, we are doing that. Currently, we have over 1,800 laboratories enrolled in our EQA program, and we are doing more. We are increasing capacity to ensure that we reach out to all the 5,000 laboratories that we have in country. So that is ongoing. More enlightenment for accredited laboratories. We'll continue to do that. Let me also let you know that right now we have a brand new department called Corporate Services, headed by an acting director on corporate services. So now you'll be seeing a lot of some of those things. Even this program will be highly publicized. So that is exactly what we are doing. Now back to my presentation for today. The World Accreditation Day today being the 9th of June. Accreditation is celebrated every year on the 9th of June, and this is done globally. As we are doing this in Nigeria, it's being celebrated in Ethiopia, South Africa, Cairo, Vancouver, everywhere. So this is happening, Vancouver, Singapore, it's happening all over the world. So next slide, please. Now my presentation outline, we go this way. Introduction, accreditation and ISO 15189-2012. What is the need for accreditation in Nigeria? The updates on eminence accreditation said what we are doing as a country. Eminence accreditation guidelines, there is need to know what are the benefits of accreditation. Some of these things my colleagues here, the other speakers have also touched. What are the challenges militating against accreditation in Nigeria? And what are our recommendations and of course conclusion. Now, a medical laboratory according to ISO 15189-2012 is a facility used for the biological, microbiological, immunological, chemical, pathological, genetic, or other examinations of material derived from the human body for the purpose of providing information for diagnosis. Of course, what we are providing in laboratory is information. A medical doctor sees a patient, he doesn't know exactly what is wrong with the patient. He needs information, accurate information from the lab for, of course, to establish a diagnosis. And we may provide a consultant advisory service covering all aspects of laboratory investigation, including the interpretation of results and advice on further appropriate investigation. So this is our role as a medical laboratory scientist and as a laboratory. The next slide, please. Accreditation is a procedure. Of course, this definition has been given by the first speaker, the second speaker. Accreditation is a procedure by which an authoritative body gives formal recognition that an organization is competent, the word competent, to carry out specific tasks. You can say the word authoritative body. You must be authoritative, which means the country you are serving must be aware of their presence. You must have the authority to offer accreditation for that country. And it must be, and that organization must be competent to carry out that specific task. Accreditation is an attestation of the competence and impartiality of a conformity assessment body to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. These bodies include, but are not limited to, medical laboratories, testing, calibration laboratories, inspection bodies, providers of proficiency testing, producers of reference materials, and bodies that certify management systems, products, and persons, or undertake verification and validation. Of course, the registrar CEO also gave this definition. Of course, we need to also know some other terminologies like, as we go on, quality. Quality, according to businessdictionary.com, is the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bears its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. Quality, according to Phil Crosby, is conformance to requirements. Of course, you go to a supermarket and you want a quality product. You already have in your head figured out what kind of quality product do I want. You have a requirement in your head, what that quality product should be. And you are looking for that quality product by looking at the requirement, the features that are so distinct about this product. Now, accreditation, ISO 15189-2012, accreditation is based on a particular standard. Now, the standard is ISO 15189-2012, the standard for medical laboratories. The next slide, please. Now, we have the requirements for quality and competence embedded in this standard. There are 15 management requirements and there are 10 technical requirements. They are all there. We are all knowledgeable in this area, so I won't go very deep into them. But just know that there are 15 management requirements. We call them clauses for 4.1, 4.2 to 4.15 for management. Then for technical requirements, 5.1 to 5.10. The next slide, please. The need for accreditation in Nigeria. Next slide. There are over 4,000 registered medical laboratories in Nigeria, vis-a-vis a population of over 200 million. Currently, MLS accreditation have issued accreditation certificate to 14 medical laboratories. You can find that in our website, as I said earlier, www.mlscnas.org. It's a recognition of testing competence. It provides formal recognition that a lab is competent, partial, and independent, therefore providing a reliable means of customers to identify and select reliable testing that are able to meet their needs. It's also a marketing advantage. Our colleague also mentioned this. It's an effective marketing tool for medical testing and calibration laboratories, and a passport to submit tenders, just like my friend Elochukwu got a job with Bayelsa State government, to contractors that require independently verified laboratories. Laboratory accreditation is regarded nationally and internationally as a reliable indicator of technical competence. The next slide, please. Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria is a federal statutory agency established by Act 11 of 2003, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004. The Act under Section 4H mandates the council to accredit by formal third-party recognition the competence of medical laboratories to perform specific tasks. You can see where we got our role. MLS Accreditation Service, which is a department of Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, was established to safeguard our impartiality in the provision of accreditation services. Dr. Elochukwu emphasized this. Now, Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria has a governing board charged with the responsibility of formulating policies as well as providing oversight functions. The day-to-day administration of the council is the responsibility of the registrar CEO. But the Medical Accreditation Service has both independent advisory committee and technical committee of Medical Accreditation Service. Like as I said earlier, Medical Accreditation Service is part of the council, but in order to safeguard our impartiality in delivering accreditation services to Nigerians, we decided to create a Medical Accreditation Service so that we don't have what they call conflict of interest, because we also do regulation and we also do inspection. Next slide. Of course, this is the organogram of Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. Look at the left-hand side, you will see MLS and Accreditation Service as a department. You see our independent advisory committee. We see our technical committee on accreditation. You see head quality assurance. You see head corporate services. You see head accreditation assessment. You see head knowledge transfer. All these are units under MLS and Accreditation Service. Now, what are the functions of the Independent Advisory Committee? One is to review medical laboratory accreditation reports. Two, granting of approval to the recommendation of accreditation assessment teams after due consideration, and any other matters as may be determined by the registrar and CEO of council that gave this role. Now, what are the functions of the Technical Committee on Accreditation? To guide on technical policies as well as provide important support on technical matters to the assessment process within a specified area of accreditation, to provide guidance on development of guidelines and other technical documents to support the accreditation program and any other matter. Now, the next slide, please. Next slide. We have other departmental units, as I mentioned earlier. The deputy registrar and director lab accreditation service is the head of department. We have other units. Mrs. Ijoma Hunanya, head quality assurance, Obin Okeke, head knowledge transfer. Boniface Ohaji is the head administration and corporate services. Of course, we want to fill that particular vacancy, head accreditation assessment, yet to be filled. So the next slide, please. Yes, I'll put it in advert. Membership of national and international standardization bodies. Of course, in order to strengthen exactly what we are doing in the National Accreditation Service, we have done a study tour of Ethiopian National Accreditation Office for mentorship on development of our accreditation body, which is the National Accreditation Service. And we participate in AFRAC and ILAC joint midterm and annual meetings. Of course, the most celebrated membership of ILAC as an associate member of ILAC International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation. And of course, full membership of AFRAC. We are being processed right now at AFRAC Secretariat for full membership. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. Of course, the Director of National Accreditation Service is the current chairman of the National Technical Committee on Standards for Medical and Medical-Related Services, with Secretariat in SON. Of course, we enjoy membership of ISO TC 212 on clinical laboratory testing and in vitro diagnosis of the International Organization for Standardization. And we are in 5 working groups, working group 1, 2, 3, up to 5 on different areas of ISO developments. Next slide. What are our strategies for MRA recognition? I'm happy that our second speaker from the Navy said that our target should be MRA, as is done all over the world. Of course, we have a strategy for getting there. We'll be conducting gap analysis on the existing quality documents that we have in Council. Of course, our quality manual, our safety manual, and the rest of them. We should be doing we'll conduct internal audits of our processes, and we'll have an action plan on how we will achieve our MRA. And let me also say that achieving MRA is something that our country needs at this point, and we'll be seeking funding for the federal government to achieve this, because it's something that will benefit the federal government of Nigeria. And it's not easy to achieve this, and it will require a lot of support for the federal government of Nigeria. I will be using this today to be calling on federal government of Nigeria to support this process, that we do this in the interest of this country. Now, providing training on ISO IEC 17011-2017, including risk management and the required documents. This training is very important in achieving our MRA. Completing ILAC A3 mutual recognition arrangement templates report for peer evaluation as an accreditation body. This will be necessary. And the Form FO2608 of AFRAC checklist for peer evaluation as well. So these are our strategies for achieving our MRA. Next slide, please. Now we have guidelines for MLSN accreditation. Evidence of laboratory approval with MLSN is very key. You don't talk about accreditation if you are not as an approved laboratory. Evidence of participation on EQA is very key. A properly filled application form, laboratory pre-assessment. If you are already matured in QMS implementation, this is optional. Then for public medical laboratories, it is 2 million naira. That is the fee. Like, it is very cheap when it compared to international accreditation bodies. This is very cheap. For medical laboratories that are joined to clinics and hospitals, it's 1.5 million. For private medical laboratories, we have made it very modest, 750,000. This is really very modest for private, just to encourage them. The MLSN will review the application process for completeness, sign the MLS acquisition agreement, and of course, the checklist will be forwarded to the lab, and assessment visits will be planned, and this is usually done by a certified team of assessors and lead assessors to that. We have a couple of lead assessors in this council, and a lot of them are seated in this hall. Dr. Akwetain is a lead assessor. Dr. Okoro is a lead assessor. Chuno is a lead assessor. ACN is a lead assessor. And a lot of them. We have so many technical assessors. Ijoma, technical assessor. Not Carlos, technical. They have a lot of them trained by the council. And at this point, I would like to thank the registrar for supporting this process to ensure that we have a pool of lead assessors and technical assessors in council. Next slide, please. Of course, this is our process. This is the process all over the world. Pre-assessment, as I said, is optional. Initial assessment, you can't be accredited if you fail your initial assessment. Of course, surveillance assessment is annually. Then reassessment after you complete your cycle. We do another reassessment for another 4 years, which is renewable. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Benefits of accreditation, next slide. Of course, the benefits of accreditation cannot be overemphasized. All the two speakers have also mentioned this. What are the benefits for healthcare regulators? Accreditation can be used as a tool to support the commissioning or specification of medical laboratory services that are technically competent, safe, and reliable. Take, for instance, in Dubai, you can't establish a lab without being accredited from day one. So it's not like today, we will first of all register you. In Dubai, from day one, you show your certificate of accreditation before they will register you. So you just be doing all the processes, put them in place. When you are ready, you call the regulator. You will show certificate of accreditation before they register you. We'll get there in this country. We'll get there. Measuring quality improvement encourages innovation. You can't be accredited and you remain in one spot. It will improve your facilities. You will get state-of-the-art equipment. Your professionals will be top-notch because they will receive training. So it encourages innovation. Next slide. Next slide, please. What are the benefits for patients? There is consistency in the quality of care. Service has up-to-date technologies, and its procedures and techniques reflect current best practice. Staff providing service are competent to undertake the tasks they perform. So these are the benefits for patients. Next slide, please. What are the benefits for medical laboratories? Prove that laboratory complies with the best practice, offers authoritative assurance of the technical competence of a laboratory, provides an opportunity for external perspectives on the laboratory's practice, can prevent the unnecessary duplication of information gathering on performance, often required by regulatory bodies, and of course, provides the almighty international recognition. Laboratories accredited by medical labs for accreditation service have international recognition. ILAC websites. Navigate through membership. Accreditation service accreditation body. Click on the website there in ILAC website. It takes you direct to our website. That is the link. That is the international recognition you're looking for. Whether you are in America, you are in Canada, you are in Australia, you have access to the ILAC website. By so doing, you have access to the accreditation service. So let's have a round of applause for accreditation service for this. What are the challenges, of course, that we are facing as a body? Lack of political will. Of course, this cannot be overemphasized, but we need a political will that the federal government should continue to make this very, very compulsory so that our medical services can be top-notch. Lack of political will is what we are calling on government of Nigeria to provide that so that a lot of laboratories can key into accreditation and our medical services will be top-notch. Weak laboratory infrastructure, of course, this should be encouraged. Poor quality infrastructure, of course. There is this poor quality culture in the country, which we need to up our game to ensure that people see accreditation as something that they should desire, as something that's very important. Of course, poor understanding of the benefits of accreditation. If you know the benefits of accreditation, of course, you will embrace accreditation. If you ask ELO now, in terms of benefits, in terms of alerts, when he delivered a speech at the Ritz Continental 2017, he was telling us about how he received alerts. And at the end of the day, his name became alert. So he was saying, background. That is what accreditation brings to you, because a lot of patronage, clientele level will increase. Huge training and laboratory equipment gaps. Of course, this is something that the government should enforce, that we should have a lot of training on QMS, and that people don't just open laboratories for opening sake, should have enough equipment. Of course, what are our recommendations as we mark today, World Accreditation Day? The federal government of Nigeria should put strategies in place to actualize the recently approved quality policy that place a target of 2025 for all laboratories in Nigeria to achieve accreditation. This should be pursued vigorously. Secondly, the government should strengthen laboratory systems and services across the country. There is need to bridge the current training and laboratory equipment gaps in public and private medical laboratories in Nigeria. And of course, the government should provide the enabling environment for effective medical laboratory service delivery. If we don't have, we have the law, we have the public service rule, we have all the technical regulations, but it must have a bite. The government should put the feet on the ground to ensure that it has a bite. The government should walk the talk to ensure that all laboratories achieve accreditation. The federal government should solve the unhealthy rivalry between the medical laboratory scientists and pathologists to ensure that we move to the next level. All these distractions shouldn't be there. We need to be focused as a country to get to the level our sister countries have gone to, like South Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt, and the rest of them. I'm talking about the African continent. The government should see how we can solve these distractions to ensure that as a country we are focused. We as MLSCN, we are focused towards doing exactly what is in our law. The Act 11 of 2003, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004. Next slide. Of course, conclusion, just one statement. All medical laboratories in Nigeria should embrace accreditation as a means of demonstrating their technical competence. Thank you very much.
I think we can do better than that. Let us applaud the Deputy Registrar and the Director of MLSCN Accreditation Service, Dr. Donald Ofili, for doing what, again, it knows best to do. Thank you very, very much, sir. We have heard it. So let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. All medical laboratories in Nigeria should embrace accreditation as a way of demonstrating their technical competence. Thank you very much for that. It's a good conclusion and it sums it up. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of the MLSCN Accreditation Service, we want to thank you for your indulgence, and thus far we have gone. We are coasting gradually to the finishing line, and it is time for questions, answers, and comments. If we have, for those of us viewing virtually, if there are questions and comments, like I requested earlier, let us put them quickly on the chat box. While we await that, we can take questions and comments from those on our impression about it's been a very wonderful time. And in my own view, the Medical Labs Science Council of Nigeria, through the Accreditation Service, has once again reinforced the commitment of the federal government of Nigeria to ensuring quality in medical laboratory services in the country. Accreditation gradually is becoming a necessity, and it's something that all facility must embrace. So thank you very much. So look, comments from the Daniel. Are there questions pending on the chat? Positive recommendations. Okay. Madam, as a mother of quality, a champion of accreditation, an ambassador of everything that is good and of quality in Nigeria. You must have something to say on this special day. Thank you very much, ma. Dr. Lorena Okoro.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My accredited MC It's just that we need to get back to Standards Organization of Nigeria to give us the standards for MC, so that we will do that. But you're doing us very proud. Thank you very much. My Golden Registrar, all the members of the TMC, especially the deputy registrars and the directors and the acting heads of departments, our distinguished guests who are also presenting. These are people that are walking the talk when it comes to quality, and it's showing when you walk into their place. I was very proud when I had the privilege of visiting the lab in Calabar last 2 months, and they said MLSC and the medical officer in charge. Immediately I said MLSC. He said, yeah, you people accredited our lab. And of course, my good friend, the MD of Air Lab, Dr. Elochukwu Adebo. I really want to express my joy that today has come, because this is one day we look forward to every year. It gives us opportunity to encourage everyone to key into the concept of, first of all, identifying standards and implementing standards, and then requesting for an opportunity for somebody to come in as a third party, look through the standard system that you are implementing, the quality management system that is being implemented, and saying you are doing it right. It feels good, both on the side of the medical laboratory and the side of the accrediting body. So it's something worth doing, is something worth emulating. It's something should actually take up and run with, in a way that we are able to constructively over the year deliver to our people qualitative service, because each and every Nigerian does not deserve any other thing less. I also want to use this opportunity to congratulate my colleague, the head of the MLSCN accreditation service, on successfully marking this day. I want to also, when you speak quality, MLSCN has had a tradition of quality and has been driving quality over the years. The tradition started here, and we've been sustaining it, not just in medical, but in every other aspect of quality in the accreditation sphere. So on this note, I tell all of us congratulations. We are doing well. We've started well. We are doing well, and we'll finish very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. Let me hand over the mic to the director.
Thank you so much, Dr. Okoro, for that brilliant goodwill message. There's a question specifically on how are we encouraging public medical laboratories to key into accreditation. I will answer this way, that the registrar CEO brilliantly submitted a comprehensive report of the state of medical laboratory services in Nigeria to the Honorable Minister of Health. And that report is currently receiving attention at the highest level. That report is currently receiving attention at the highest level. A committee has been set up by the Federal Minister of Health, and that committee is working day and night to ensure that the right thing is done. The federal government is interested in making sure that all our teaching hospital laboratories, federal medical centers are all accredited. So that particular committee is working day and night to ensure that this happens. And the MLS Accreditation Service is ready anytime the teaching hospital laboratories are ready to embrace accreditation. And that's the reason why that comprehensive report should be celebrated, because the data was made available to the federal government. And of course, data is very important. And with that data, we know where we are as a country. And so that particular report is what we need as a country to actually democratize accreditation so that it reaches the nook and cranny of this country. So we'll be very happy if in no distant time we begin to receive applications from our teaching hospitals and federal medical centers embrace accreditation. And let me also say here that we are receiving more than ever before a lot of inquiries from state governments. As we speak, we have an application for accreditation by the Yobe state government. I would like to thank the governor for making available the Yobe State Teaching Specialist Hospital. We are now processing their application, and in no distant time, we'll be visiting Yobe State for that. And I will also call on other states to actually use this opportunity to embrace accreditation, because that is the way to go. Internationally, that is the passport for tenders and the rest of them. So a lot of laboratories are now embracing accreditation. So that will be my answer for that particular question. So let me hand over to the MC.
Thank you very much for that lucid response to that question, which is very topical on a day like this, the World Accreditation Day. I've been directed to announce that these presentations will be hosted online for our colleagues to access, because we have a lot of them joining this celebration virtually, even across the country. Even though this announcement is not very authentic, but I also have it on good record that there might be soft copy of refreshments. Thank you very much. So it is on this note that we move on to the closing remarks by the Registrar Chief Executive Officer of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, Dr. Tosan Irabo, the man of quality. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Amolaho. I just got to know today that there's an ISO standard that qualifies you to be an ISO MC. That is the way to go. Before I make my closing remarks, I need to recognize the presence of a Deputy Director in charge of monitoring in the Department of Health Laboratory Planning and Research and Statistics, Mrs. Ngozi Amobi. So I want to say it has been another wonderful accreditation day. One thing that some people forgotten about World Accreditation Day to this organization as relates to this team of management of MLSCN. My very first official assignment when I took over as acting registrar of this council was World Accreditation Day. Let's not go further. I want to say that it has been a wonderful day today, as usual. And I just want to bring to the fore some of the things that was said in these presentations today. I want to say thank you. And the officer in charge that will tell us the vote of thanks will thank all of us. But first, let me take the issue of training or curriculum. Our training curriculum for including QMS. From the last discussion that took place in Johannesburg last week, the National Laboratory Quality Framework that has been developed for our country, it is specific that the Federal Ministry of Health will liaise with National University Commission on making QMS mandatory in all our universities. And that infrastructure is just with them. And it is also stated in that quality management framework that no lab should carry out any test without EQA. It's a requirement for this country. It's not for MLSA, it's a requirement for this country. We have also listened to some suggestions that there is need, because of how big Nigeria is, that we should see how we can replicate what we have in Zaire in the 6 geopolitical zones. We shall be discussing that with funders and the federal government of Nigeria for ease of uptake, for ease of people participating. And I want to also say, we have not given enough enlightenment to our accredited laboratories. That will encourage other facilities to see the benefits. I will be making a proposal this afternoon, which I will take to my top management and possibly taking it to the governing board of council, that as a form of encouragement, that all MLSN accredited facilities, for now, so long as you have accreditation in place of MLSN, for that period, your annual renewal should be free as a form of encouragement. That is my thinking, and I believe most of my TMC is here, and I will present it formally to them that this is the way I think, if they can buy into it as a form of encouragement. On the issue of AFRAC membership, full membership, it is important to put the record straight here that MLSCN Accreditation Service is not the only accreditation body in Nigeria as of today. We have to. And our thinking is that as a country, we determine how many ABs we want in our country. In ticking in that line, the MLSN Accreditation Service, with the good working relationship that we have with NINAS, Nigeria Accreditation Service, we are trying to harmonize each country to see what is best for our dear country, Nigeria. Once that harmonization is complete, the Nigerian people will get to know which way to go. But for now, the two are working closely to see that Nigeria gets the best. In my earlier speech, I said we have National Laboratory Equipment Calibration Center, and I said we were at the last lap. Not knowing I was giving you the late or still reports. When I took the DG, our keynote speaker, to the calibration center this morning on his way out. The staff informed me that a mail is already, they've sent a mail to me that in the next 2 weeks, the NANDAC, that is Nigeria National Laboratory Equipment Calibration Center, will be applying for national accreditation. On the state of medical, the issue of public laboratories not involved for now in accreditation. With what we did in South Africa last week, and once that document is approved through the National Technical Laboratory Working Group and is signed in by the Honorable Minister of Health, that document does not know public health laboratories and research laboratories in this country. If you must have a laboratory in this country, you must play by that national laboratory quality infrastructure. And I think that is the way to go. Nigeria is joining the League of Quality Laboratory Services. And I'm very sure with the commitment of this country, starting from the president of the country, that is President Muhammad Buhari, our Minister of Health and Minister of State, their commitment to quality will be sustained. I'm sure the story of 1423 labs will be a thing of the past. We shall be celebrating about 100 before the closure of the tenure of His Excellency CNC, President Muhammad Buhari, our audience today. God bless all of you for attending to us.
Once again, a better applaud for the Golden Registrar, Dr. Tosan Irabo, the man that is very, very passionate about quality. Very much, sir. I think before we take the vote of thanks, it is important to also place on record that we have one of the public civil facility, government facility, the Buhari General Hospital, that have Buhari General Hospital here in the Federal Capital Territory that have attained ISO 15189-2012 in the year 2019. That is a challenge to other public facilities. We have other military public facilities that have also been accredited. The Navy, the Air Force, and the Army are also doing very well. It is on this note that I want to invite the head quality assurance of the Medical Laboratory Accreditation Service. I was told shortly that she is a budding professional, Mrs. Ijoma Aunaya, for the vote of thanks. Madam, you're welcome. Let's applaud her. It's not easy to be head of quality assurance and a budding professional. I was not told deputy. They said she's a budding professional.
Still on the existing protocol. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is as good as wrapping a gift and not giving it out. In the words of Williams Otto Ward. So on behalf of Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria Laboratory Accreditation, the only professional. Okay. We wish to thank our boss, the ever supportive hosts, the Golden Registrar, Dr. Tosan Irabo, our keynote speaker, Dr. Egemba, our other guest speakers, Captain Edom, Dr. Elochukwu, all top management committee members present, Dr. Bitai, Dr. Koro, Sir Greg, Dr. Kinlapi, and all the deputy directors present. Most importantly, we also, because without you, the event wouldn't have been a progress without the audience at home. So we thank you all. I also want to thank the technical team and the team members of Laboratory Accreditation Service. You are all wonderful. Thank you all and God bless.
Thank you, the budding professional. The Agama lizard said, if, okay, got to, for the, okay. So all the guest speakers will be in the office of the Deputy Registrar, MLSCN Accreditation Service. Thank you. I want to thank myself for holding the microphone. Ijoma did not thank me. And it's a non-conformity. Yes, it's a non-conformity. Yes, by the ISO standard, not thanking the MC is a non-conformity. But nevertheless, I want to thank myself. Thank you very much. It is on this note, I want us to rise for the closing prayer, which is the second stanza of the national anthem. O God of creation, direct our noble course. Guide our leaders right, help our youth to great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice reign. Thank you and God bless. Have a blessed day. Okay, we'll move on to the group photographs downstairs. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much.